People like Nathaniel, Bandy, and Nico have challenge topics that they mainly do. And I don't have one yet, well, until now. If you saw my other Sonic challenge, Sonic Seed without killing a single enemy, and you see this challenge topic, then it might be clicking in your head right now that my personal challenge topic is going to be finishing games without killing a single enemy. So let's do this with Super Mario Run since I did a poll and you guys wanted this video first. The rules are simple. I didn't even say that from Nico, literally. I literally just saw that on my own. But anyways, there's really not any limitations. I can play as any character I want, and if there's any glitches, which I actually don't think there's any glitches in Mario Run, those are all fair game. So let's get started. For 1-1, I decided to use Toadette since she's one of my favorite characters. That doesn't really mean much. But her jump wasn't doing me anything, so because her jump is really just average. I can get past the first Goomba, but then there's a set of 3 waiting for me. After 2 failed attempts, I switched to Luigi, and thankfully he fixed my issues because Luigi obviously has a higher jump. For 1-2, I decided to use Toad for the stage, and most of the time there was no problems. But near the end, I had an extremely close call. Like, how didn't I hit that? What? But anyways, moving on to 1-3, I usually don't like using Yoshi, but I decided to use him for this stage since he has a flutter jump. It would have been easier if I used Luigi, but I wanted to get some variety, I guess you could say. There was actually multiple close calls, but otherwise 1-3 was pretty easy. For the first castle, I decided to use Peach because, well, Bowser's here, so the tables are going to turn. Though you can't kill Dry Bones since they regenerate after 10 seconds or so, you still knock them out, so I'll still avoid them. Later in the challenge, I didn't decide to avoid them. I don't know why I just didn't. Okay, so back to the video. The enemies, which I think were only Dry Bones, were all very simple to avoid. So after getting revenge on Bowser for capturing me for the last 36 years, we move on to World 2. 2-1 was actually pretty easy, to be honest. The only enemies that are in this stage are Boos, but you obviously can't kill them unless you have a star. So it was very simple avoiding them. 2-2 was another simple stage. I was wasting a lot of time because I kept dying every 5 seconds, but otherwise, there was nothing wrong with the stage. Aside from me killing multiple bullet bills, of course. I cut about 2 to 3, so I did have to restart a few times. But otherwise, the stage was painless. 2-3 was honestly annoying crap. It took me like 60-80 centuries to finish, and it's all because of this one bat. Yeah, you heard that right. This one little gay bat here was giving me the most problems it possibly could think of. To be honest, I was no doubt overcomplicating this with every little thing I did, but still. First, I lost my mushroom from this one bat at the start, but that wasn't really doing too much. The next room had 2 bats in there, but it was easily able to avoid them. And before I got into the pipe, I decided to get this mushroom, but I somehow failed. I don't know how, but okay. And if you hear the clip kind of just like cutting out, that's because my dad called me, so, whatever. The next room was a breeze, but the next room was when the whole heck started, dude. You see this 2 bats falling from the sky? At first, it just went into the bubble. The next, I died for it. But that wasn't even the annoying bat. I learned that getting stars for the room would be a dumb idea because I killed the first bat with a giant hitbox. On my next attempt, I killed both bats. The one that was really giving me problems was the other one, so I had to restart again. Thankfully, after that, there was no problems, but damn, this level sucked. 2-4 was pretty annoying as well. Just obviously not as annoying as a 2-3. I don't want to think about that. For some reason, I decided to use Yoshi instead of, I don't know, Luigi? Peach? On my first few attempts, I didn't realize that I was always killing the first Ninja there on top of the brick. I'm kind of an idiot for that, honestly. I don't know why the heck I didn't realize, hey, there's a Ninja there jumping on the brick. But next time, I decided to use Luigi. The next few attempts, I hit enemies and I accidentally jumped off a brick. Also, may I add, how did I even manage to do that? And I didn't say wall jump, but I wall jumped off the brick. Then after I was playing the level normally, I jumped on a cannonball and accidentally hit the Ninja. And yeah, the cannonballs do not count as enemies. But aside from that, the stage was really simple. And obviously, I'm not going to count those bosses either. So, let's move on. Starting off with 3-1, the game crashed after about 3 seconds and 3-1 somehow. I don't know how, but anyways. After that, I can't believe this honestly, but I was doing extremely well. I didn't die, no errors, well, maybe besides me wall jumping on accident sometimes, and most importantly, I didn't kill any enemies. This is no doubt the best level so far. 3-2 was more of the same thing, but a little bit more annoying because it's a bullet bill stage, and for some reason I just kept jumping on bullet bills. But trust me, this stage wasn't anything compared to 3-3. This stage is my least favorite of the ones I've played so far. I kept killing the enemies every time because the true main part about this stage, they're everywhere. But I was about to dump this challenge, but then I thought of how I did a poll and you guys wanted to see this video, so I just did the stage again. And here's my winning attempt. Yeah, I had to manipulate the bubbles into letting me beat the stage. And I only beat it because I didn't use a second bubble near the end. I'm glad that I did because I needed all 3 bubbles. So if I didn't go to the bottom and get that 3rd bubble, this level likely would have been impossible. So let's move on to 3-4. 3-4 was extremely smooth sailing, surprisingly. I actually did have little to no problems. There actually wasn't a single level or an enemy in the stage, which honestly is not that surprising since it's a recurring, something that recurs always in castles. Well, at least in Mario Run. Well, World 3 was pretty annoying. Worse, but let's move on to World 4 now. World 4-1 was a stage that has lots and lots and lots of dry bones. And at first I was avoiding them, but then I thought of how they don't die, they just get stunned. So I opted to jumping on them and then staying near them to make sure that they did regenerate. Which is honestly kind of dumb since they regenerate regardless of where you want to go, whatever. 4-2 was basically a knockoff 3-3 since it had a lot of enemies. But after some tricky platforming, I was able to suffer, but thankfully I ended up finishing the stage. 4-3 was an underground level, and there's honestly not much to say about it. There was a bunch of enemies falling from the sky at times, but that didn't really matter, seeing as even with a generic character like Toadette that I'm using that has no special abilities like jumping or floating or jumping high, it didn't really make avoiding them harder at all. And 4-4 was obviously a castle, and as you'd expect, it was extremely simple since I had little to no problems completing the stage and it didn't have much enemies. So let's move on to World 5. 5-1 was a very simple level, but there was lots and lots of enemies. But that doesn't really mean anything, seeing as Yoshi, the small green dinosaur, has a flutter jump, and that obviously just makes the level easier. 5-2 was a desert stage, and I used Yoshi since his shoes allowed him to jump on spiky things like munchers and pokies. But Yoshi wasn't helping me get past this part with 2 paratroopers, so I switched to Luigi, and he helped me get past that part. And with Luigi, I was able to finish the stage, obviously. 5-3 was a ghost stage, and what more am I supposed to say? It doesn't have enemies, besides the boobs. And the final castle is obviously a recurring theme. The castles almost never have much enemies, and this one is no different. And yeah, sure, there's a few dry bones, but they didn't put up a threat, seeing as they were generally enemies. So, I still didn't kill them. At least I don't think so, but whatever. So now on to the final world, and so far we haven't had any problems whatsoever. So hopefully this world is as simple as some of the other ones. So let's get started with 6-1. 6-1 was a stage that had lots and lots of spikes. And no, not regular spikes. These green guys. A single one is called Spike, and I guess you could say multiple ones are called Spikes. I don't know. They throw up spike balls, but since they're not considered enemies, and I mean the spikes themselves, not the enemies, I can jump on them all I want. I mean, I was using Yoshi, so that's the only reason I could. So this level was mostly simple, but at some point I did accidentally get hit by one of the spikes after shooting out of a cannon. The enemy. Otherwise, the stage was really 6-2 was a ghost house, and as you'd expect, there was no enemies. What else am I supposed to say? 6-3 had a lot of rocky wrenches, but with some good timing, you can avoid them all. And yes, I did have to restart multiple times. And for 6-4, of course, the final level in the game. I'm sorry for being anticlimactic, but here there's really nothing to say. You just have to kick bombs to Bowser and beat the boss. But 1, they don't act like regular bombs. And 2, these bombs are stubborn and don't act like the regular ones. And 3, bombs automatically kill themselves. That really wasn't any good reasons, but I don't care. So was it possible to beat Super Mario Run without touching a single enemy? Yeah, but if you count those bombs, then sadly no. But hey, thank you guys for watching, and look at another video on screen if you enjoyed, and peace.